All right, we are back with the District 1 candidates for Sarasota County School Board. Thanks for a good first half. Let's do with something lighthearted to start with, and we'll start with Bridget. Favorite subject in school and why?
Civics was always my favorite. I was very interested on the history of our nation. It inspired me. It got me very excited. I think that we have a nation to be very proud of, and I always look forward to social studies and civics and history.
All right, Paul?
And I'm English and reading, as you might suspect. And I enjoy reading. I enjoy high school reading. I'm a little bit concerned high school students today, what they're reading, what they're not reading, actually. I went to Catholic high school. We read Sinus Marner and Great Expectations, and today you ask high school students, and they're lost.
All right, Ken?
My 11th grade advanced composition course, as a matter of fact, that was the first teacher that I had where we would read a book and he would test us on it, and then he would teach us his view of it, as opposed to us reading it and he teaching it and then us testing. Critical thinking.
All right.
I think
Bill?
probably 12th grade problems in American democracy, because we got to we actually got to pick an issue we wanted to get into, and we actually worked it for several weeks and made presentations. But I want to comment, Paul's absolutely right. If kids can't read, they cannot succeed.
Absolutely.
So you're absolutely right about that, and that's got to be a fundamental thing we look at.
Okay. Bridget, we'll start with you again,
Okay.
because this is the way the question is designed. So you're technically, actually you are the incumbent, but you were recently appointed to this position by Governor Rick Scott. So why do you want voters to give you a full term on the school board?
I'm a parent of a young daughter, and there's no doubt that every parent wants the best education for their child, because that will make success imminent. I believe that I can bring a voice to the parents. I also bring a fresh perspective. I know I'm the only one on here that has not been involved in the school district, and I bring a desire for accountability and transparency.
Okay. Paul, the question for you is, why elect you?
Well, because of my educational background and my experiences, I think I qualify to be a board member. I think we have 3 constituencies: students and parents, and then you have the teachers, staff, administrators, and then you have taxpayers. And I think a board member has to try to balance the needs and wants of those 3 groups. I think I will be able to do it.
Okay. Ken?
Education is a passion of mine. I've got a master's degree and 2 other partial master's degree. My wife is a teacher, my daughter's a teacher, her husband's a teacher, just retired after 35 years in education in this county, so I know Florida law, Sarasota County. And I've been a problem solver in convening people throughout the county for a number of years, ready to do it at the school board level.
Okay. Belton?
Most of my entire life has been spent in one form or fashion in the Sarasota County Public Schools. I was a lifelong resident here, graduated from Sarasota High School. I returned, I got a master's degree in the University of Georgia, and I returned to start to teach. I've been a parent. Both our daughters graduated from Booker High School with outstanding education, went on to USF and got their degrees, and they're both working in their field. So, I mean, I've got the experience, I've got the qualifications. I don't think anyone here, with all due respect, has the breadth of experience that I have in terms of Sarasota Public Schools.
Okay. We've talked a lot about the legislature, legislative mandates and such. Things have changed drastically since I started covering education issues in Florida. The legislature is much more heavily involved in the past. So here's the question, and we'll go around. We'll start with Belton. If you're able to have the legislative delegation at this table, what would you lobby for? What would you ask them to do or not do?
I'd ask them to let's stop making education a political football. Let's take it out of the realm of politics and let's talk about practical solutions and the way we're going to improve our student achievement. We need superior teaching, we need engaged and motivated students, and we need hard work. That's what it takes. And get it out of the political arena. Stop making it political football. Stop talking about all these other issues. And let's start talking about how we're going to improve student achievement.
Okay. Ken?
In my files that I went through when I retired back in April, found a legislative platform for Sarasota County Schools seeking greater autonomy from the state legislature. 30 years later, we're still doing the same thing. We're a terrific district. We need to be trusted to make decisions financially, curriculum, programmatically on ourselves. And I would ask for some flexibility. Bridget mentioned entrepreneurial spirit later on. Right now, the regulations are such as that we can't think outside the box or act outside the box.
Okay, Paul?
Oh, I agree completely with Ken. State mandates are strangling the school districts, and not only here in Florida, but around the nation. And they're not in a position to make all these mandates. Teacher evaluations, curriculum decisions, they should be made locally.
Okay.
I
Bridget?
couldn't agree more. I think that local decisions are in the best interest for all of our students. One benefit is to work with our state legislature. I'm honored to have the support of our current state legislature, and I have had conversations with them where they want to hear, we will give them the pulse of what parents and the issues of the education are. I think it's important that we do let them know that the majority, our community wants local control, and they need to report that to Tallahassee and impact that.
All right, so we'll start with you and come back around. Suppose you're elected. 4 years from now, how would you like the public and voters to judge your performance as a school board member?
I would like the voters to know that, I would like to prove that transparency and know that we're making sound decisions with accountability, with the children's interest in every decision. I would also like to see parents' involvement grow significantly.
Okay, Paul?
I would hope they look back at me and say, I listened, I researched, I studied, I discussed, I disagree with other board members, other administrators, whatever, but I did the best job I could.
Okay, Ken?
The metrics would be increased graduation rate, decreased dropout rate, continuation of excellent financial condition, more success working with local employers to send them the SETI students with the right kind of training that they need.
Okay, Belton?
I'd want them to see me as someone who's been willing to listen to them, willing to go out and talk to them, willing to take their input and actually do something with it. And I think ultimately we're going to be judged on whether or not we can improve the educational program for our students and whether our student achievement improves. And I think that's where it's going to be, right there.
Okay, all right. Let's just do a couple quick ones here, and before we take off. So, and we'll start with Felton. Tell us, the one thing that you think you would bring to the board that perhaps the others would not.
Again, I mentioned earlier the breadth of experience I've had in the Sarasota County Public Schools. Not only that, but the experience I've had in the state legislature. I was a member of the Education Standards Commission for 6 years. I was appointed originally by Governor Bob Martinez. I was reappointed by Governor Lawton Childs. So I've had experience not only locally, I've had experience at the state level as well.
Okay, Ken?
Well, school board responsibilities aren't just what you do in school board meeting rooms. And what I would bring would be 19 years of working with local governments, developers, everybody throughout the county to solve those problems from day one.
Okay, Paul?
I would be a voice, not an echo. I like to listen to people, but I don't mind disagreeing. I serve in the county legislature in addition to the school board, and I understand no one has all the answers, but one has to discuss, argue, come to a conclusion.
Okay. And Bridget?
I agree. I think listening to the community is something I'm incredibly passionate about. We are representing our community. That is what a school board member is doing. So making sure that communication is constant and that we support and we keep the control local.
Okay. All right. Everybody take a breath. We'll switch over now to closing statements. Everybody gets 45 seconds, and we'll start with Bridget.
I would like to say that I believe that I can bring a fresh perspective to the school board. As a mother, as a businesswoman, and as someone who cares about accountability and fiscal responsibility, I believe that I can bring a breath of fresh air and bring avoid the status quo at the Sarasota County School Board.
All right. Paul?
I think every board member has a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayer to spend money wisely. One of the things I'm concerned about is the charter schools. And one issue I will make a campaign issue, I think we have enough charter schools right now. I would call for moratorium on charter schools. I'm realizing the state has the authority to overrule us. But we have 12. They take $50 million from our budget. And now there's 7 more in the offing, perhaps. And I have nothing against private schools, charter schools. They're doing a great job as far as I can tell. But how many do we need? How many can we afford? Are we cannibalizing our school system?
Mm-hmm. Okay, Ken?
Most of the issues we've been talking about this evening are issues that are current here in 2014. The things that are going to come before us in the next 4 years, most of which we don't even know yet. And so what I believe I will bring is, from my 35 years of experience in local public education, 19 here in Sarasota, my knowledge of the county, my ability to convene people for problem solving. I'm a trusted leader. People will know that I can listen and serve the entire county for the best of all of our staff and students.
Okay. Belton.
First, let me start by thanking the SNN, the Herald-Tribune, and Tom Tryon for this opportunity. I appreciate it. I'm working on a less than advantageous budget. I'm doing this myself, and I never realized how difficult campaigning actually was. It's a lot of hard work. And I appreciate the fact that these folks have put the time and commitment in as well. I also want to thank Carol Todd for her years of service. And I know she's left the board to care for her mother who's ill, and I've had that experience recently, so I appreciate that. One issue that I wanted to bring up is the fact that we no longer have school resource officers in our elementary schools. I think that is an invitation to a tragedy. I want licensed, uniformed law enforcement people back in our elementary schools because I want to protect our youngest and most vulnerable students, and we have not discussed that tonight, but that's one thing that I'm constantly talking about.
All right. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
We're out of time.
Thank
Thanks
you.
to the candidates. We'll be right back with candidates in District 4. Thank you.